I used to believe that pursuing more success, more fame, more money would make me more happy. I didn't think that I would be one of the people that would suffer from going all in on these areas that the world applauds publicly, but will leave you empty privately. I used to confuse my net worth with my self-worth, and I believe this is a very real challenge for young men in their 20s and 30s who are up and coming, who want to make a name for themselves. And there's this alpha movement that is telling men that men should be strong, relentless, and that's all. If you're providing, that should be enough. And I'll caution you to that because I fell for that. Most people are living so numb and disconnected that they don't even realize why they're not happy. And I want you to avoid all the pain and heartache and confusion and anger and sadness that I experienced because I put all my eggs in the wrong baskets. So in this video, let's dive into a 5-part framework which is going to help you achieve what I consider real riches. So this month, I will have taken 3 full weeks off of work. 1 on my running camp, 1 I just completed with a week away with my daughter at Elevation Church's 𝗤𝘂𝗲𝗁. It's a full 5-day summer camp with 5,000 middle schoolers and high schoolers where I was an adult chaperone. And then I've got my family vacation later this month. So I've taken 3 weeks off in a span of 30 days, and I still produce over 6 figures a month in revenue. So I want to reassure you that, hey, Vince is doing well, but I'm also doing even better in the area that I used to neglect, because in the past, I would never take 3 weeks off in a month because I'm like, no, I need to build. I need to get ahead. I'm young. My kids are young. This is the time to be pressing forward. And I know this is the belief that a lot of us have, that, I got to do this before the age of 30 or 40. But here is what is going to happen. You're going to be 40, you're going to be 50, and nothing will change because you have not changed your priorities. So the very first thing that we need to change are your priorities. And it starts with step number 1. Define what you really want. What I didn't know that I really wanted was connection. I learned this through therapy. I had this subconscious belief that I had achieved all my success on my own power, which is a very empowering belief, by the way. Everyone says, just make it happen, right? And when you believe that everything in your life is because of you, that's a dangerous position, because what happens is to get to next levels of connection, even in business, you need to have trust. There needs to be vulnerability. But I had this belief that, look at me, I got to 7 figures a year by myself. I don't need anybody. So what I didn't know was this position of, look at me, look how much I've built, I don't need people, prevented me from having the relationship that my partner wanted with me, because I was afraid to be vulnerable. And I was afraid that if I actually connected with loved ones, then I would lose what was giving me what I considered success, because it would pull me away. Not knowing what I really wanted all along was a connection in the first place, but I had too much stock in all of the worldly things that I was building. Step 2, design from connection, not compensation. And what I simply mean by this is just look at your calendar. And if you looked at my calendar in the past, you just see like all my trips were associated with business, going to masterminds, speaking events, and hey, that's a part of what I have to do. That's a part of my work. So not to say that's bad stuff, but there was a massive imbalance between how much time I spent pursuing trips for compensation versus trips for connection. And was I making connections there and developing friendships? Absolutely. I'm not saying that those trips were bad and that I regret them and that I don't do them still now. But what my life was lacking was trips that did not revolve around compensation. For example, this past week, my daughter and I went to Elevation Church's 1-week summer camp called 𝗤𝘂𝗃𝗁. And I was an adult chaperone with our church here in Toronto. I was one of 16 adults. There was 90 middle schoolers and high schoolers. We took 2 buses down, and it was absolutely crazy. It was so much fun, but I was an adult chaperone. So I was there leading the kids and I was not working. And in the past, I would not have taken that much time off work, especially because I've got a vacation coming up, and especially because I already took a week off from at this running camp. So almost 3 weeks off in 1 month. But this was an opportunity for me, my 11-year-old daughter, to have this once in a lifetime experience. Now she wants to go next year. We'll go either year after. I'll bring my other kids too. But now this is going to become a family tradition, going down to Elevation Church and having this incredible experience, growing closer to God, growing closer to each other. And she was just so happy. And this is something that's going to become a tradition, which I recommend that you do with your children. Take your kids away for 2 to 3 nights, just you and each child. Do solo trips. You will get to know their heart more in 24 to 48 hours, just solo, than you will in 6 months just living inside the house. You will be blown away by how happy you both are, the experiences you have, the laughter, the photos you take. It is absolutely one of the best things you can do. It sounds so freaking obvious, but as us biz owners, we get caught up in like the chase and the provision and we say we're doing this for the family, but like we haven't even structured our business in a way that allows us to use the money that we have and the time freedom we have and the locational freedom we have to create these experiences and these memories that will last a lifetime. Step number 3, decide what you'll no longer sacrifice. Once you understand your values, it becomes very easy to make decisions. And for us, we have a couple non-negotiables. One thing is a 2-hour no phone zone every single day that I am not on my phone. And the kids know about this, and I like to tell them, hey, dad's on his no phone zone. And it's typically between 3 and 5 p.m. And this is just a time where I'm just on my phone. It's as simple as that. And you know, maybe we're clean, maybe we're running some errands, maybe we're playing, but there's just no phone, no proximity to it, because I just want to be engaged. I want to listen to their voices. I want to be able to reply quickly, not say, what'd you say? Seriously, say that again? And they get all frustrated, like, Dad, you never listen, right? I don't want that to be a pattern in my relationship with him. So I have to train myself to have times in the day that I'm just fully engaged. And guess what? A lot of those times are boring. My kids are talking about kid stuff. They're telling me stories. I can't keep up with all the details, but it's good for me to just be present and just to let them know that, hey, I love you guys, because kids spell love T-I-M-E, all right? And in that time, quality moments just happen. But if there's no time in place, then the quality moments can't happen. So we have to prioritize that time. So your takeaway is to decide what you're no longer going to sacrifice. Be intentional. The whole purpose of the non-negotiables, what you're not going to sacrifice, is to be intentional about optimizing your life for more happiness through connections and by being fully engaged. How you do it is totally up to you. Step number 4 is to devote yourself to becoming whole. Now, for me, I always struggle with this podcast that would say, you know, success requires unbalance, because I can relate to that. A lot of my successes come from being very unbalanced. Getting my WBF Pro card, that was like training 4 or 5 hours a day, right? My life revolving around my food, my workouts, my sleep schedule. So I can relate to that. When I was building my business, I was working during the day, then I was working from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., like very unbalanced. But that's what got me results. So I've always struggled with this. And I think that's why I gravitated to people, you know, the Grant Cardones, the Andy Frisillas, the Gary V's. These are the guys I looked up to. And, you know, they were extremely successful in what I could see, which was their business world, their social media world. That's what I looked up to. That's what I admired. But as I started to have a family, I started to shift who I was considering successful. And I started looking at, to be honest, a lot of pastors like Craig Groeschel and Erwin McManus and Stephen Furtick. And I would look at these men who had these large churches, they had great reputations, they had all these, you know, books, and they seemed to have much more balance. They would take sabbaticals where there were stretches, you know, where they would not speak, right? They weren't pumping out books, you know, every year. There seemed to have a better sense of something that was sustainable. And I think they appreciated the value of operating from purpose, operating from peace, operating from a place of being connected with people. And I started to shift who I saw as successful, and that has helped me now realize, like, yes, I do want to have success in my business and my work. It's what I've been called to, give back to the world. But I also want to have equal success with my kids. And I feel like we need to figure out who you consider successful as your role model, or else you can start chasing these one-dimensional guys. And if that's not even what you really want, you can get that, but at the expense of what you want most. Step number 5, probably the toughest one, is to detect the warning signs early, because you are in the thick of it. You are trying to build your business. You're trying to build your name. You're on the pursuit. You want to have it all. You want to be it all. I get it. But there are warning signs, probably from loved ones, people that know you most intimately. Maybe your girlfriend, your kids, your mom, your dad. People that know you better than anybody else are tossing you warning signs. If you've got some good friends that speak into you, they're throwing you warning signs. And some of them you might need to filter, but some of them might be like, they sting because they're true. And they might be warning signs where your wife is yelling at you because, hey, you said you'd be up at this time and we're waiting for you. Hey, you've had all week to get this done. Hey, this is our family vacation. Why can't you be present with us? And you keep coming up with excuses and reasons. And this was me. I'm not judging you. I can describe this because this was me. I always had a reason for, why, I couldn't come to the beach in the morning because I had to go take a call in the morning because there was a fire to put out. There's always a freaking reason. And next thing you know, 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by, you've swept all of this dirt under the rug. The rug's become so high that now you can't even see each other in the living room, and you're completely disconnected and there's no more relationship. And that, when you find out too late, was the foundation that you were building on, and now you have no more foundation, no more support system to be inspired by and to work from, and you never even realize how much of a role that was playing in your life until you lost it. And just as we finish, I want to ground us with one Bible verse from 1 Samuel 16:7. You've probably heard this before. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. And really what we are working on here today, pursuing happiness, right? It's working on your heart, connecting your head and your heart. And when you're connected to your heart, you will be able to connect to other people's hearts. And I had a great therapist who said the longest 18 inches a man will ever travel in his life is from his head to his heart. So if this feels hard, it's because it is. Because most of us men live from up here and we don't live from here. But I can tell you that if you're not connected, nobody's going to care how much money you collect in your life. So I want to just encourage you, wrapping this video up, is to ask yourself, what does real happiness look like for you? What do you need to give up? What do you need to add to experience more real happiness, so that you have this foundation to know, like, hey, I'm building a life that does produce this fruit of happiness, and it's one that I won't regret, and it's one that will be inspiring to others. Love to know what your favorite takeaway from this video was. And if you want to watch another video where this all makes sense, but you're having a hard time getting yourself out of a rut, go watch this video here, how to quickly get out of a rut, which will help you implement a lot of the stuff that I gave you in this video. Level up or level off. Ciao, ciao.